Hello and welcome to our wrestling
perspective.
That was a horrible click, but you know what? Don't worry about the click because the click is a wrestling group, and it's not. Well, it's technically what we do. I don't know. You know what? I'm just gonna keep going with this. This is our wrestling perspective. OWP Bomb Shelter 3. Yes, but I'm not a rapper. I'm dropping those sick bars. And I'm here joined by none other than BLT himself, Mr. Leslie.
Yes, I am not a talking sandwich. Yes, continue this.
He's not a talking sandwich, but I am the 12-inch wonder.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Deputy Pink in 2K18 and 19. I am Drago.
I wonder why we stopped this a long time ago.
Yes, the intros have been horrible, but you know what? We haven't done this in a while, and I like to finish things in trilogies, and trilogies are always good. I would have to say that. There's a lot of movies that are trilogies and I like, but you know what? The trilogy that I don't like is the Resident Evil movies. That's
they were putrid.
Yeah,
the games.
Not the games.
The games are garbage.
Not the games.
Oh, the games are garbage.
Well, let's kick it off, and you know what? We'll do hot topics. No, not like the store. We're just doing topics where we'll just bring something up and just talk about it, and we'll see, like, you get to see our opinion. I know my words are all over the place, but you know, we're in one place. I don't know. Alright, we're going to be talking about AEW versus NXT.
The Wednesday night battle for ratings.
The Wednesday night battle. And hold on, some window popped up on a laptop. That's probably a click that you're just hearing of me hopping out of it. But
it's not a porn fucking thing, is it?
No, it's some vast antivirus free stuff. But we'll get rid of that. AEW versus NXT, and what did they bring to the table? We see the rise of Keith Lee. You know, the rise of Keith Lee on NXT. Oh, that actually rhymes again, but I'm not a rapper. I'll keep reminding you that I dropped the sick bars, but I'm not a rapper. The rise of Keith Lee and how he was double champion for, what was it, a couple hours or a week or something. He didn't hold both championships.
He didn't know.
What's your opinion on Keith Lee, Liz?
Keith Lee's always been popular. I think ever since he actually debuted his bars with his glory, he's been just everything about him. Like, he's had some great moments. He's had some great feuds, especially his matches with, would you like to introduce him?
Oh, yeah, his matches with, I've got to do this in a Mauro Ranallo voice. Hopefully he doesn't get too loud over the microphone, so I'll do it from a distance. Dominic Dijakovic!
And then, obviously, from there, who did he beat for the North American? Was it Johnny Gargano he beat? Or am I missing something? No, Roderick Strong, wasn't it? Sorry about that.
Was it Roddy?
Yeah, I think it was Roddy. It was Roddy. Because that was when the Undisputed Era was slowly dropping their title belts.
Oh, yeah.
So he went from the rise of becoming North American champion, he was getting popular, and then he was the one to dethrone Adam Cole, who became the longest reigning NXT champion of all time. Fuck you, Finn Balor and Bo Dallas. It was just... It's been great. Now he's dropped the belts, and now he's in a feud with Karrion Kross, which is... But, you know, I guess we'll see how it goes. But no, Keith Lee, he's been the main attraction now of NXT, which is weird, because all this time before that was the Undisputed Era.
Exactly, and that's I think that was the one that I was confused about who he actually beat, and it was both Undisputed Era members, and he was getting close to even tag gold at one point. But it wouldn't surprise me if he became a Grand Slam champion in NXT. Obviously, he can't win the Cruiserweight Championship unless it was the X Division.
And who do you reckon he'd win the tag team title with?
Oh, who did he... Oh, you know who I reckon he would have won the tag team championships with? He would have won it with Dominic Dijakovic! And they have a big love-hate relationship, but we got to compare the rise of Keith Lee up against the rise of someone else in AEW, and that's freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. And Orange Cassidy, in my opinion, I really don't know how the King of Sloth Style has picked up so quick, and I reckon what's contributed to him being so popular would have to be the Chris Jericho praise. The Chris Jericho praise by itself for Orange Cassidy has been absolutely confronting at times. Like, how can you confront someone, compliment someone so much when
he barely talks?
Barely talks. Very little he talks.
Barely kicks.
Barely kicks. It's all these little miniature things of him not giving a damn. In the alternative, AEW. What's your opinion on Orange Cassidy, Leslie?
Orange Cassidy, even before he got to AEW, you were showing me clips on Twitter. That's where most of the parody wrestling he shows me from, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I fell in love with him straight away. And then when he was paired with Best Friends, again, I thought it was great. But then at the same time, he was like a reverse manager. He did nothing for the tag team. He was just there to give a thumbs up, did the whole family portrait type of thing, blah 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 blah. I think ever since I stopped watching AEW, and now Orange Cassidy, now he's come into his own light. Now he's been. I think it was ever since he had that match with Pac. That's when he started getting his own highlights. And I honestly thought, probably from being a WWE fan, that eventually this would have ran its course, but it hasn't. He's somehow getting more and more popular, which I can see why. It's not shocking because he actually can cut a promo. He actually can wrestle with his hands in his pockets. That's why Jim Cornette calls them pockets. And honestly, he's great. I just love that AEW isn't thrashing him, because WWE, whenever you give a wrestler a cheer, it's like, okay, we're going to ruin him now. But AEW is doing the reverse, and they're actually they're giving him enough time to grow as a character. They're not shoving him down your throat. And the Jericho feud, like you just said, Drag, has been great for him.
Yeah, and they hit the iron when it's hot in every category when it comes to AEW, except for one division that's always lacking. But you know what I gotta say? I guess Orange Cassidy is here to stay. That's another sick bars just chucked right at you.
Bars.
But when you compare the both, who would you say sticks out the most to you? Orange Cassidy or Keith Lee?
Shit. Well, Keith Lee, the whole big man who's athletic, we've seen that before. I think the earliest I saw, yes, I didn't watch wrestling in the 80s or 90s, had to be Samoa Joe. I know you've had big guys who can actually, who can go for a while and blah, 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 but I never saw someone so agile, someone so fast as Joe, who was just a big guy doing these kicks and doing these flips and stuff. But so Keith Lee doing that, it's about the same. Keith Lee's promos, he has a distinctive voice. He does actually stand out.
He has a majestic voice.
Oh yeah, he does. His theme song is also majestic as well. He even has the friend by his side, Mia Yim, which is, you've already seen this before. But again, she brings more character to Keith Lee. Keith Lee, he can wrestle, honestly, and I've got nothing really bad to say, but Orange Cassidy though stands out a lot more, because his gimmick, I can perfectly say, maybe there has been someone else, but to me personally, I've never seen anyone like him. Wrestling wise, he's also not a bad wrestler. Promo wise, even though he can cut a good promo as well. Look wise, well, look, he looks like a fucking dork, but he can wrestle though, so it's great. It kind of depends. Looking at the crowd, NXT has such a deep roster of wrestlers, yeah. So if you're not a fan of Keith Lee, you're a fan of like Undisputed Era or Gangana or Ciampa. So the fan base is split between who they like. Orange Cassidy, on the other hand, AEW fans, again, AEW fans adore the whole roster, but they all love Orange Cassidy. It's not like one of those, I don't like fucking Orange Cassidy, I like Jericho better. It's like, no, they love everybody.
Exactly right.
So it's like everyone cheers for Orange Cassidy. It's just the traditional wrestling fans would have a problem with him. So, as of now, I'd say right this instant, Orange Cassidy. Long run, Keith Lee.
Yeah, I would say that as well. But Keith Lee, the only thing I reckon that's holding him back more than what Orange Cassidy is the age factor. Because Keith Lee, I'm probably thinking he has like a decade onto Orange Cassidy. But you got to think about it. Orange Cassidy, he has sold out multiple T-shirts with just his face on it, even towels.
He's freshly squeezed.
Freshly squeezed, the whole orange juice persona with him. And you know what? It's like they've dropped the whole best friends thing with him and just made him to this galactic point.
Sorry, I had to sorry for interrupting you. I had to Google something. How old is Keith Lee? Because I got that wrong in my head. I was going to say he was close to 40.
He was like 30 something?
He's 35.
Oh, wow.
Right? Orange Cassidy, in my head, I thought he'd be about 28.
Yeah, well, late 20s.
He's actually older than Keith Lee.
He's older than Keith Lee? My bad.
He's 36.
That's a bit of a muck up on the OWP stand. Oh, wow.
That's why I interrupted
news,
you.
People, freshly squeezed.
He's not that fresh.
No, that's pretty expired if you ask me.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so maybe longevity, Keith Lee might last longer.
Yes, maybe. And, depending, because Keith Lee does some high maneuver moves.
So high risk maneuvers, yeah.
He might, I don't know. You know what, I hope the best for the both of them, but this has to move us on to the next topic. And the next topic is Dark Order. Still, in our opinion, isn't the most crush hot stable we've ever seen.
Oh, they are fucking shit.
For some reason, that episode, when Dark Order basically was in every match, their ratings went up. So does Dark Order equal ratings, or does it equal garbage?
Okay, was that when nothing else was on TV? But by any chance, was NXT not on TV?
No, that's when they were head to head.
They were head to head. Was NXT doing like a flashback reunion special? Were they showing what happened last week over and over again? Did somehow Undisputed Era, Gargano, Ciampa, Keith Lee, even fucking Damian Priest? What's his name now actually?
Which one?
Oh no, is that his actual name now? Damian Priest.
Damian Priest.
Oh, sorry, I thought that was his Ring of Honor name for a minute.
No, Punishment Martinez was his Ring of Honor name.
Oh, thank fuck.
If you forgot about that name, people.
Yeah, so, okay. I can't imagine how a Dark Order is like not New Japan, is like NWO, when NWO should have already died. How can a stable start off so shit? I can't get over it. They are not believable. I don't want to see another dark fucking stable in my life again. Yeah. To me, it is all garbage. Brody Lee's Cash. Actually, the rest of them aren't bad. Who's the tag team in there? The ones who used to be the Nintendo tag team.
Yes, we are talking about Stu Grayson and Evil Uno, people.
Okay. I can't. Okay, see Grayson? Okay, can you buy him being in a dark gimmick? Yes, I can. Evil Uno, can you buy that? I can't. And when you have the name Evil Uno, I think of the card game. Yeah, I don't think of like the fucking alphabet. Yeah, I can't take him seriously. And then you got the other two who got like, oh, what's this? A fucking coupon to join the Dark Order. I can't take them seriously either in the whole thing. And now you turned all this dark one. Oh, it's the higher fucking power. And already people were giving you fucking comparisons to the Ministry of Darkness. And we got a bit of, it was me, Austin, it was me all along with Brody Lee that everyone saw coming a mile a fucking way. Yeah. But then you turned him into a Triple H and Vince McMahon ripoff. Yes?
Yep, he's okay. A blend of the both of them.
So can I say, you went from Dark Order being a shit stable to now being a shit stable with a parody in it. So is this supposed to just be a whole parody? And people shit on WWE saying, oh, listen to the fans, all this crap. But why am I still seeing Dark Order for?
Yeah, and I get it with how there can be a lot of hate heading towards Dark Order way, just because of the fact how, alright, fair enough, WWE with their name game isn't the best. Sometimes they'll put some horrible names.
Oh yeah, some fucking bad names.
A classic point, how No Way Jose. How could have that been a wrestling name? But you look at a group, and they name people 5, 9, 10. What is it? Is it a mix of Umbrella Academy mixed with the Wire family, mixed with, I don't know, some Ministry of Darkness with what you said?
Mixed with they don't give a shit.
And that's the thing, it's confusing. It's like, what are you at times? Are you a cult? Are you...
Oh, speaking about cult, is Colt Cabana in there as well?
Yes, Colt Cabana.
Get the fuck out. What a fucking shit stable.
Boom, boom. A Dark Order.
Okay, next topic, I'm getting angry.
You know what? Do they equal ratings though? That's the real question.
Down the toilet, yes.
Alright, well, we're going to move on to the next one. And the next one is Chris Jericho. How he has said he is the demo god.
Okay.
How from, is it 18 to...
49?
Yes,
yeah.
I didn't want to beef up that number, so I was waiting for you to respond with that. But, you know what? Chris Jericho, he can say all he wants about being the demo god, but he was a bit silly doing a Fozzy concert.
Wait, did they actually do it?
They did a Fozzy concert
during the COVID.
Yes.
Okay.
But it was one of those park up ones, so when people go on past and people still had their temperature checks. But
yeah,
still,
but I don't get this though. You have bands who are doing virtual concerts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anything, they should have had mask wrestlers doing it, like a bit of a Lucha Bros.
Oh.
Kings.
Lucha things. Yeah, I was just thinking though, if say now for Jericho, right? If you got the whole virtual concert aspect and you don't think it's any good, right? It is Chris Jericho who created a fucking cruise for wrestling, yeah? Okay, imagine now, like, let's just say now, for us as Australians here, yeah, Chris Jericho has a virtual concert. It's directed for Australians, yeah. Let's just imagine though that during this, during the concert, he has some actual AEW wrestlers with him. So say now he might have like the Lizard People, aka the Lucha Bros,
Yeah.
and he might have like some guys from the Inner Circle. As an example, let's just say Inner Circle is there too.
In a squircle.
So let's just say now, because paying now for a stream, you might find very ridiculous and stupid, yeah? But let's just say if you bought VIP virtual tickets, you get to have a one-on-one sesh over there, and they'll actually sign something for you.
Yeah.
Would that make you interested then of actually buying tickets for a virtual concert then?
Yeah, but the virtual concerts, I'm guessing it'll just be like how they do with this whole AEW stuff. They should have a couple AEW wrestlers and they do a concert within a ring or something for 1 week, but then it gets ruined by Orange Cassidy singing a better version of Judas.
Oh, speaking about that, I gotta put my cover up soon. No,
like,
look,
what have I become?
the whole thing with
Orange
Jericho...
juice in a cum.
Orange juice is gonna come. No, but like, look, with the whole Jericho thing, yeah, at first I thought he was being petty. Because they would only really mention the demo ratings as soon as they lost in a week-to-week basis to NXT, which, if you look at the demographic though, of how many times AEW's beaten NXT, AEW is killing NXT. It's not like fucking, or it was by a huge margin, as in by the ratings itself. It'd be like, anywhere between 50 to 200,000, which I'm not saying also, I'm not trying to take away from AEW, but they are technically smashing NXT.
Yeah.
NXT needs to pull out big specials and main roster talent to win.
A bit of a obliteration, yeah.
Yes, Lord. And also, AEW is getting very similar ratings now, or I think the demographic is getting very similar to Raw and SmackDown now, yeah? To me, it came off as petty. Jericho had to use the demo. And then, same with Tony Khan, right?
Yep.
Who had to also bring it up, yeah? I get it, man. You guys are winning the demo. But did you want to at least put it with your ratings win? Not just come off as real petty, and then you have to explain it. But then it's Jericho being Jericho. He somehow made it into a fucking gimmick. Like a little bit of the bubbly. Or then like, I have a ticket. Every time that motherfucker, even when he does something dumb, yeah, he turns it into a gimmick and he gets cash.
Yep.
So this is just another Jericho, this is Jericho to me, copying the L and then turning it into a W. He fixed it on the spot.
He has to think on his feet, and he's one of those wrestlers that can easily think on their feet to bring something up, like even the whole time when he said it, and he got over.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is just Jericho being Jericho, but let's see how long...
Is he the demo god? That's the true question,
Okay, can we just add that to another fucking pile of his nicknames? Like, god damn it, the man has that many already. It's fucking ridiculous.
The Ayatollah of Rock and Roller, the leader of the Inner Circle. You know what? He has many nicknames, but I reckon that moves us on to the next thing.
I'm still a Jerichoholic.
We're talking about AEW's brand new signings, and the AEW brand new signings, there's even some more that we have to add to it, so sorry if we don't include every single person that they have officially made all elite.
Let's just go from lightning round, mention the wrestler, a few things.
Yeah,
Revival, honestly, didn't think they were going to go. It was like a bit in and out, but apparently they're not staying for too long though.
Oh, so a bit of FTR might be... I was going to use a swears.
Oh, good lord. But, yeah, so a potential in the future, fuck the Revival. But with FTR though, you told me they recently turned heel. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Continue.
Because there might be that 4 horseman group now that they're planning on making with FTR,
Oh
Cody,
my god.
and MJF.
Are you being fucking serious?
Yes.
So Cody's going to turn heel. I'm going to cut myself.
We're going to be talking about... I know these are some of the old signees, but we have to...
It's pretty much for the whole end of
That's
the year.
it.
We're talking about from January to right now.
Well, next one we're talking about is the one that in charge of character manipulation. Yes, we're talking about a bit of Matt Hardy.
Is it kind of bad that I don't give a shit? Is it bad that I don't give a shit at all?
Matt Hardy, it was good that AEW has picked him up because there's little bits and pieces that they can use him for. really hope that
the chair shot with Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, I really hope that he was going to be a part of this whole Dark Order, that he was going to be the one that can move it, because if it's anyone that can make a bit of gold out of something, would have been Matt Hardy. Nothing against the next person that they signed, and the next person that they signed is Luke Harper, now known as Mr. Brody Lee.
Brody Lee and Matt Hardy were both speculated to become the leaders of the Dark Order.
Yeah.
Brody Lee, though, to me stands out a lot more than Matt Hardy, and let me remind you, I'm a huge Hardy Boys fan. Brody Lee, though, he to me has shown something different that we haven't seen before. Especially even if you were a fan of him back in his CZW days and other promotions he used to be in. In his days of WWE, though, this is completely different. This is showing how great of a talent he is.
Yeah. And the only thing that I can say, or nitpick on, I would say, is why put him in another stable? You know what? There's nothing wrong with him being the leader of the Dark Order, but I would have preferred to see him as a singles wrestler and wreak havoc that way, be like a new Bruiser Brody. But if he wants to be the leader of the Dark Order, by all means, he's doing a great job ripping off the Triple H and Vince McMahon blend. Now we're going to move on to the next one, and these will be a range of newer to old. So the next one that we got written down is none other than the real OG himself. We're talking about Eddie Kingston. This one I am really happy about.
I don't give a shit.
Eddie Kingston, he is a hidden gem within the professional wrestling world.
The promos, yes.
He doesn't really, you know what, I'm just going to be honest, some people give him criticism that he doesn't look the part, but if he got his own little gangster type of group like how he did in OGZ, but have him where they're not the youngest bunch of talent, where
so OGZ.
Yeah, you know what? The OGs, bring them in. And you said you didn't really care about Eddie Kingston, was that right?
Yeah, I don't care about him.
What about Strong Island, Matt Cardona?
Okay, we knew that was happening.
Matt Organdona.
My God. I don't care.
I don't know if he's officially a part of All Elite, but he's been there.
He's got a t-shirt.
And he does have a t-shirt.
So yeah, but usually when AEW wrestlers get a t-shirt, that means they've signed a new contract.
Oh, yeah.
So he signed a new contract there.
You get a t-shirt. You get a t-shirt. You get a t-shirt. Oprah is a part of their t-shirt creative. Now we're going to move on to the person that is with. Well, this is a 2-for-1. You know what? No, this is a 3-for-1 because we didn't even mention it. We're talking about this new alliance where Taz, is managing Ricky Starks.
Wait, is Ricky Starks as well in there?
Of course, Ricky Starks
is
a part of them with Brian Cage, which Brian Cage is the FTW World Heavyweight Champion.
Okay.
The fuck the world.
Okay, I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but to me, Brian Cage is exactly like, what are they called now? Pride and Powerful. They were huge in Impact. Why is it that now Pride and Powerful, right, the old LAX, why do I not give a single shit about them? Brian Cage, look at the size of that missile. Yeah?
Missile means meat and crash.
Why do I now give absolute no kudos about him?
That means balls in crash.
I thought it meant dicks.
Oh, dicks, balls.
Male genitalia. Yeah, I do not care. And then you bring back Taz. Yeah, I have not cared about Taz since we're talking about 2004 SmackDown commentary with Michael Cole. I couldn't give a shit. And Ricky Starks is apparently the next Rock.
I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't. Even he actually said he wasn't the next Rock, which I appreciate. But okay, why is it as well that when new wrestlers come to AEW, it's like they're a tag team?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. Even if they're not technically a tag team and they're somewhat meant to be this alliance, I would have preferred if Ricky Starks was just with Brian Cage himself. I get that you want to add Taz with Brian Cage, but there's been times where Taz isn't the best on the microphone. Yeah, he's good on commentary because he can think of moves on the go, but
he can read notes.
Let's see, he can read notes and he can read them very well. But Taz, Brian Cage and Starks, no one gives a fucks.
No, fuck the world.
But Brian Cage, hopefully he just turns into this massive heel and just destroys everything and keeps going. But now we're going to move on to Boom Boom, Colt Cabana.
I was actually thinking you were about to say him. Okay, I would rather you sign anyone else on NWA than me see Colt fucking Cabana. And now Colt Cabana is in a Dark Order gimmick. I feel like cutting myself. Who's the next one?
The next one, I'll say this is a 2-for-1 because Nyla had her as a tag partner and Nyla had her as a manager. We're talking about Vicky Guerrero and Cameron. Now, Audrey, or whatever her name is.
Wait, sorry. So, who's with Vicky Guerrero now?
When they're in the tag team part with Nyla Rose, Cameron.
Oh,
former
Lord
Parker Benson.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Vicky Guerrero, right? I loved what happened with her in WWE. She became cash. She turned into a heel that we can't stand. And that is a heel that you want in a company. Yeah? So with her being in AEW, I see nothing wrong. With Cameron, I hope this is just a massive lull. That this is only a one-off appearance. Has that tag team match already happened?
Yeah, and they lost.
Okay. Is Cameron still there?
I'm pretty sure no.
Okay, so we can take her off the signings.
You know what?
Thank
Yes,
fuck.
we'll take her off the signees. And there was another one, but we don't really know much about the character. It's the female wrestler Abandon.
Who the fuck's that?
Exactly. So moving on, we're talking about, you know what, this was a big thing. It's when Drake Maverick went onto Twitter and started crying that he lost his WWE contract when the whole releases were happening, but he still had his final matches when it came to the NXT Cruiserweight interim crowning of the
Yeah, when
championship.
Devlin no longer, because of the COVID situation,
Yeah,
he had to
but
stay
now-
in the UK.
He's released, isn't he?
Is he actually released?
He no longer champion.
Wait, is he actually a part of the releases?
Of course, because
Oh,
of the whole
shit.
allegations that went on.
Did he belted a chick?
Yeah, it's something really gruesome or something very vulgar to the
Oh,
point where
shit.
it wasn't any good. So now you have the new Pablo Santos Escobar with Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wild or Yeah Man Wild
Wait, I gotta also
in
just
their
double check.
lucha group. We have Mr. Leslie doing a bit of Google.
I have
reviews
to. I have to
and
see
a bit
it
of
now.
Google search of it.
No, I think technically he's still a part of WWE. I think he is.
I think they dropped the whole belt away from him because I don't call it the interim cruiserweight championship
no,
anymore. They call it the actual cruiserweight championship.
Yeah, no. So he is still. He wasn't a part of the releases, which we'll talk about
Okay.
soon, because of the speaking out movement. But yeah, because of COVID, because he was stuck in the UK, Devlin could no longer do it. They turned Drake Maverick into a real life story, which I think they're doing also now with Adam Cole and what's his name? Pat what?
Pat
McAfee. Oh, okay,
Pat
sorry.
McAfee, the
Okay.
one that got sweared at by Adam Cole.
But
later.
Drake Maverick, a lot of fans didn't like the whole storyline about it because they thought it was a slap in the face to other wrestlers who did get released. Even though Maverick even came out talking about the whole situation, saying that a lot of wrestlers actually praised him for the work that he was doing, and some of those wrestlers were apparently the ones who got released. And remember with Drake Maverick, one of his best friends in EC3 was a part of the releases, which we'll talk about later on. Yeah. So I honestly love the whole storyline. I thought it would have been a bit too cheesy if he did win the Cruiserweight title. So Drake Maverick right now has a lot of steam right now. He's being utilized. And so far, and don't get me wrong, a lot of the E-wrestlers who got released, including like, what's his name? Kurt. Oh, no, not Kurt. What's his name from 3MB? Heath Slater, there we go.
Heath
Yeah.
Slater.
Yeah, see like Heath Slater, see like Zack Ryder, EC3, they are cash, yeah, but definitely Drake Maverick has proven that he is cash, and I've enjoyed him so far in
Yeah.
NXT.
He has actually proven a lot that he can do. I would have loved him in a manager role, not with the Authors of Pain.
Oh no, that was so bad. He looked like a little child wearing a fucking vest.
Whatever happened to the Authors of Pain, huh?
Oh Jesus Christ.
They turned into the new Ascension, sadly. But we're not talking about those Ascension AOP, Ascension of Pain. We're talking
Sure.
about the TNT Championship and how it's complete. We're talking about that red and gold, baby.
Okay, I didn't like it when it was red and silver. I don't like it that it's red and gold. I couldn't give a shit about the weekly challenges, and then how Cody Rhodes is turning into now Jeff Jarrett there. I do not care whatsoever. People, and this is what I hated about AEW fans, yeah? If WWE, just imagine now, had that exact same title belt but called it Fox, WWE would have copped it in the ass for it, yeah? The US title, no, don't like it. The IC title, like you said, it looks like a watch. No,
It
don't
does
like
look
it.
like a watch, but they've at least gone for the theme saying that it's timeless.
Yes,
Well,
thank you.
fair enough.
Yes, and then people even chat on the 24/7, which is very valid. Because the 24/7 is a joke. It's well known that it's actually a joke. But then I look at this piece of shit title bout, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. So I'm sorry to any AEW fan here, but how can you say that the IC and the US looks like garbage when the TNT looks like it should explode?
They all have proper familiar designs. You have the Intercontinental that looks like a watch. You have the United States Championship that looks like a cowboy belt buckle.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
None other, I like to say none
Take
other.
a shot.
That's two shots there, people. We're going to be talking about the AEW TNT Championship that looks like a coin.
Yeah, okay, does it look more like a coin than the old tag team title? Actually, no, they're still current tag team titles.
Yeah, every
That
time
looks
that
like
I
a coin.
purchase changes designs, that's my curse. So if they end
It's a
up
sign.
changing the tag team belt, I will be losing
All right,
it.
quick, buy the TNT title quickly.
Yeah, then that changes. You know what? I'm not going to buy the TNT title. No. Not even when they bring out a little foam one. We're going to be talking about there's a couple more topics, but let's talk about how apparently Robert Stone from NXT is meant to be a parody of the president,
The owner.
the big doge of all elite wrestling, Tony Khan. I can see the familiarities, but can you see I can see there's this difference between them, Liz. What is it? Are they completely the same? Because you're more NXT.
Okay, when I first saw Robert Stone, I just thought that he was like the whole like fashion. I thought he was like the whole fashion designer. Me personally, yeah. I couldn't see anything, right? But when people mentioned that he was like Tony Khan, I looked and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then when he lost his only client in Chelsea, do you know when he went through that, like he became like a bit of a washed up type of person and yada yada yada. I'm like, okay, this now looks like a massive dig and AEW. And you know what? Okay, look, Brody Lee does a fantastic job. Yeah, of being a Triple H and Vince McMahon clone. Yeah. Robert Stone to me, because look, I just don't know much about Tony Khan. Tony Khan's barely even shown on AEW TV whatsoever. But if it is supposed to be a dig, I find it funny, just like I find Brody Lee funny. Yeah. But just Robert Stone in general, I used to like watching Robbie E back in TNA. So it's kind of biased, but I actually just like him in general.
Why haven't they gone with the bromance? Get Jesse got eyes. You know the DJZ.
No, keep him a big brother.
We are not your kind. They could have done that, but you know what? No, they didn't. Now let's talk about a tag team that has been utilised a lot in NXT compared to their main roster. Even though the main roster run was fantastic, we're talking about Breezango with Tyler Breeze and Fandango. What a team! Well, to what a tag team unit that is. That is gold right there.
Thank fuck they weren't released. They are gold. Every time I see their entrances on NXT TV, I just lose it. And don't get me wrong, AEW has comedy down pat. They do.
Yeah.
Right? Like every time with Chris Jericho, I cry. Orange Cassidy, I cry. Yeah? The Inner Circle in general, I cry. There's so much in both promotions that I laugh about, yeah? But Breezango constantly changing their entrance is one of the highlights of the Wednesday Night Wars. I love it.
It's something that you have to sit down and appreciate every week. Whenever they hop onto TV, you're like, Breezango on NXT, that's gold. Black and gold, it is. Well, let's talk about the AEW releases. They've had about 4 to 5 releases. And this is their first batch of releases. Are any of them going to rock up on NXT and do one funny? Because their first ever release was Kylie Ray. And that was on the terms of Kylie Ray not wanting to be there. We still don't know why.
Yeah, she went straight to Impact Wrestling.
We have to say the releases now, at times, it does look really shocking. Like Bea Priestley, she was meant to be this very big heavy hitter within the division, but... It looks like she's heading back with her boyfriend Will Ospreay, maybe in Japan.
Yeah.
Then we have to talk about Jimmy Havoc and what a sticky situation that is.
Jimmy Havoc obviously was unfortunate. I thought that with him going to cancelling or rehab for his mental health, I thought that was a sign of we're going to keep him around. He said sorry, Like Sammy Guevara with the whole Sasha Banks comment that he made.
Yeah.
I thought, like, obviously, I'm not trying to compare the two, but I thought it would be one of those, they're going to give him some time to bring him back to TV, right? But the speaking out movement, which we'll cover later on, I guess has been just too much. God knows what's happened behind the scenes. Maybe it was even Havoc who wanted to release from his contract because of guilt. We don't know, yeah? But in terms of any of those two, because those are the two biggest releases that we've seen, yeah? I can't imagine E picking them up. With Jimmy Havoc, possibly Impact.
It has been an Impact before.
Has it? Oh my god,
Yeah,
sorry.
It has
Yes,
been an
yes,
Impact before,
yes,
but
yes.
just because of how it was very vulgar to how just reading up on the stuff that did take place, and honestly, we can happily say that we don't know the full details because we were not there in person. The only time we were in person was actually when we met Jimmy Havoc, and we met Jimmy Havoc,
which we will talk about another time.
and we'll definitely talk about that another time. He was a very nice person to meet, but then once you see behind the curtain, or how Dark Side of the Ring is now licking their chops, like, I've got material for days.
But this is the one thing though. This is kind of the one thing as a wrestling fan. Because we can mention wrestlers like Jimmy Havoc, and let me mind you, the wrestlers who I say now, we are not comparing in any way. You can look at any of the wrestlers who are in the speaking out movement. We can talk about Jimmy Snuka. We can talk about Hogan's racism as another example, and we can talk about the unfortunate events of Chris Benoit, right? The one thing as wrestling fans that we have to remember is that because you like a wrestler, it doesn't mean that we agree with what they do in their own personal lives. We are just fans of the characters that they play on TV. So to me, even if you are a fan of Jimmy Havoc, because of what he's done, obviously it's horrible, but you can still be a fan of Jimmy Havoc without feeling the guilt of what he's actually done. It doesn't mean you're supporting his actions, you're just supporting the wrestler.
As long as you support the wrestling work of it, I'm guessing there's some substantial positivity out of that. But then when you look at their personal life, that's strictly their personal life, and you can't really judge onto that. What he did was wrong in many eyes, but we're not here to say what's right and what's wrong. We're here just to give our opinion. Now let's talk about the last release. And that last release was Sadie Gibbs. And
I don't know who she is.
sadly, I did not see Sadie Gibbs whatsoever. Not that she wasn't on television, but there's been times where I had to catch up on a week of wrestling, and there hasn't been times where I'm like, I want to catch up on a particular division. So it's sad to see people leave, but talking about people leaving, let's talk about people returning. So let's hop off that AEW train, shall we? And we'll talk about NXT and how they returned. They'll return of Velveteen Dream. What a big debacle that was.
Speaking again about, actually, Velveteen Dream, this whole drama with him started out even before the speaking out movement even happened. Obviously he was gone for some time, now he's back. To me, with Velveteen Dream though, take away his personal life.
Hogan never liked him in Tough Enough.
Yeah, true actually, yeah. For me personally, it's just, I've never been too big of a fan of Velveteen Dream. I appreciate the work that he's done, but do you know when a wrestler on NXT, their times kind of come to an end?
Yeah.
When I see Bella, when I see Gargano, when I see Ciampa, when I see Velveteen, and when I see the Undisputed Era, I don't have that interest anymore. Because
You're waiting
me,
for them to do the jump.
pretty much, like, there were certain wrestlers on NXT who could have definitely stayed longer. But NXT to me is the brand that either you're developmental and you're getting ready for the main roster, or you're this big indie darling who's come in, and we're going to use all the momentum you have, make you big at NXT, and then once the heat starts going away, you being a new toy, like a lot of gimmicks have actually, a lot of heels have said, right? You move them up to main roster. I just hope this is the end for Velveteen Dream on NXT, and I hope he moves on to the main roster where he can make even more cash.
Yeah, and controversy hasn't stopped a lot of wrestlers from proceeding, like how Randy has defecated in a lot of locker room bags.
Kelly.
Yes. Now, on to the next topic, and the next topic, let's talk about the impact that COVID-19 has made in 2020 and how that has impacted outbreaks, how that has made no audience, and how that has made a massive shift in the professional wrestling world. And the first topic we've got to have out of that, out of the whole COVID-19 situation, is the outbreaks in the PC.
It came to me as surprising. Even a lot of companies like AEW had a dig. Taz saying sloppy shop, lol. Taz, go fuck yourself. Anyway, it is kind of disgusting in a sense of WWE. I think WWE, just like other countries around the world, thought that, you know, hey, this is going to go away. Hey, I think we can start slowly bringing things back to normal. Unfortunately, they shot themselves in the foot. I believe they're still having positive cases to this day now. That's delaying their TV taping. Simply enough, WWE, they just, I don't know what exactly happened. It's very unfortunate. It's more unfortunate to any of the wrestlers or staff who actually did get COVID during this whole time. Yeah, but unfortunately, this is the days that we live in right now, where this is simply just not going to go away anytime soon. So this is just, like, unfortunately, WWE's way of learning the hard way. They can't push for too much, and safety still has to be the number one thing they have to just look out for, with their staff especially.
And they've still made the best out of what they can with the talent from the PC, being at Monday Night Raw, being at SmackDown, and even NXT, and the show that we nearly all forgot about, 205 Live. So,
oh really?
Yeah, they still
is that still a show?
It's still a show.
Oh, what the fuck? Okay.
All I gotta say is, yes, it's very difficult times because you are watching from a way different perspective on how you used to watch it, seeing audiences actually cheer for the faces. And
it's actually funny
heels.
You're bringing that in, because we were going to mention as well about how the audiences for a lot of wrestling promotions, they had absolutely no crowd, because we're not allowed to have, like, even for like sporting events, music events, we can't have any crowds, right? So it affected wrestling, because wrestling, you need the crowd interaction, yeah? You need to have the cheers, you need the boos, you need the holy shits, and all this and that, yeah?
You need the Kenny.
But AEW, oh, I didn't need New Japan clapping, but
Yes.
you had though with AEW was the ones who took advantage of the situation. They were the first ones to have fans who would be in the audience, and I honestly thought it was a great idea. Sorry, they had the wrestlers be the fans, yeah. I honestly thought it was a great idea. Then it's like, lol, we copied them. But the thing with all of it is that when you have wrestlers cheer for other wrestlers, I find it stupid. Like, me personally, I find it idiotic, yeah? But it depends though. AEW had MJF do it. Fuck, that's cash. Yeah? It was absolute cash.
How him and Sean Spears were betting on the matches.
Like, see, that made it actually interesting.
Of course.
WWE, they had the PC, the performance guys do it, yeah? Which was good to an extent, but I still had the idea that if you're gonna have the performance guys, like, and it's fair enough, you don't know, like, unless you're a diehard wrestling fan, you wouldn't know who these guys are, yeah? But if you're gonna do it like this, you need to at least then, if you got 3 hours of fucking Raw, why don't you at least give us a highlight of who these PC guys are? Or why don't you at least turn it into a gimmick where the PC wrestler even has a match that you highlight? Yeah?
Yep.
Take advantage more of the situation. But definitely without the crowd support, that's where WWE had to change over this time with the cinematic matches. That AEW also crushed as well, the Stampede match they had. But then having certain moments like Drew McIntyre finally winning the world title in E, it hurt a lot.
Because it's not the same without the crowd.
Imagine if this was Kofi's year to win the belt.
It would have changed things really quickly.
Imagine if it was Daniel Bryan when he beat Evolution.
It would have impacted a lot of reactions and what's actually right and wrong, because you have it written from a standpoint where Vince sometimes go with what's hot, but if you had even the whole Rusev Day going on now, who would be chanting Rusev Day as loud as crowds? So you got to always put that in perspective. So saying Drew as champion, it's great. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the same without the roar of the McIntyre crowd cheering him on, and his feud with Randy Orton
it would have been a lot better.
It would have
with
been
crowd.
10 times better with a
So
bit of
a lot of
audience.
wrestling companies around the world, they are suffering with the lack of audience interaction.
Yeah.
But I do believe they've actually, AEW's brought back the crowds, haven't they?
AEW has only... They have some backstage personnel and they still have wrestlers do the crowd. But the only wrestling company now that I see actually using legitimate fans is New Japan.
Oh, really?
New Japan has social distancing to the point where they'll have one chair space between person, but there is still audience going on there. So it's going to be weird to see what they actually do, because they do have some New Japan USA events coming up, so we'll have to see how they do with the crowds then. But moving on from that, like we touched on it a little bit, we're talking about the cinematic matches that COVID-19 has brought to us, and that has been a lot of WrestleMania matches. Technically, we have heard that Undertaker's officially retired after the Boneyard match.
So we have seen quite a few of those matches come around, which we have to obviously give praise to Matt Hardy.
Yep.
His work and Impact was the one that really started this whole trend. We have seen cinematic matches before COVID-19, but we've been seeing a lot more now. Some have been hit, so the hits. We have to see, obviously, the Boneyard match, I loved it. The John Cena Bray Wyatt match, I fucking loved it. The Stampede match in AEW, I loved it. But then there's been misses. Was it on... What was that match for the tag team titles? It was Viking Raiders and... what are they called? Who are the current champions again?
Street Profits.
Yeah, that was an example of a bad one.
Yep.
Right there. There's a lot of hit and misses, but we're living in a time... Oh, I'm sorry, we also had the Edge and Randy Orton match as well.
Good, that was a bit of a cinematic match. And another one we got to say is the Money in the Bank. That was weird to see as a cinematic match.
I loved it. But anyway, it's... Again, it's wrestling companies now thinking on the fly, changing up things. So far, I'm embracing this. I love it, because this is the entertainment that we all love about wrestling.
Yeah, and it's good to utilise something like that, because you got to make the best out of a very sticky situation. But that leads us on to WWE, the king of cinematic matches now. Let's talk about some of the things that happened earlier this year, and that was the return of Edge at the Royal Rumble.
What a moment that was. Fuck, I missed Edge.
Thankfully, that happened before the whole outbreak did happen.
Oh yeah, imagine the no crowd reaction to him returning. Fuck, that would have been bad.
The Edge return, still in shape that is probably better than half of his shape in his former career.
Do you know what? He's got grit.
He's got Vikings. He should have been a part of the Viking Raiders.
Oh, sure.
Bit of him and Floki. But moving on from the Edge return, let's talk about the bad Raw ratings, how they have been declining and what they tried to do to fix it.
Oh, man. At this point now, look, there's a lot of factors. You got how TV ratings, they're just not the same as they used to be. Because we have streaming services these days. We have, like, we can just now, like, with Netflix as an example, they release a whole season, we can just watch it in binge, we can DVR everything, record it and watch it later. Ratings will never be the same as how they used to be, so you can't compare it to the Attitude Era, where they were getting 9 to 11 million, but also, without making an excuse for E, their ratings have been dropping regardless, yeah?
But do you think this will, once everything goes back to normal, touch wood, it happens soon, that it will actually increase their ratings by a bit?
Okay, so I know a few of my mates have actually stopped watching because of the lack of crowd interaction, right? Maybe it's a backlash of how certain people don't like having no crowds, don't like the cinematic matches, so possibly it could go up. But then you need to realize too that with AEW being an alternative, you got Impact Wrestling being an alternative, New Japan Pro Wrestling being an alternative, people aren't brainwashed and don't have to sit and watch 3 hours of garbage anymore on Monday Night Raw. Yeah, simply enough, I don't watch Raw anymore. To me, Raw is like trying to find a rose out of a fawn of shit.
Yep.
There's more shit that you see there, and it's not fulfilling. It's not great watching Raw, even SmackDown at times. You have storylines that go nowhere. you have wrestlers who aren't utilized, yeah, and WWE panics. They're trying to throw shit at the fan, right, to see what sticks, yeah, and then every time they're losing ratings, it's like, lol, let's bring back old wrestlers. So ideally, I think E's ratings, like in general, will increase, but not much. I think this is still the rise of the alternative wrestling promotions.
We're talking about a rise. Let's talk about the rise of something that actually saved Raw with a bit of ratings. We're talking about Raw Underground.
Okay.
Yes, that was a big. Yeah.
I've already said I don't watch Raw, but what the fuck is a Raw Underground? I saw Shane McMahon came back. Is it like a fight club? Is that what it is? With some dancers who are now gone after a week.
The first rule of Raw Underground is no fighting.
Wait, sorry?
Just kidding. Because you can see that, yeah, it's a very different way of doing it with the ring that has no ropes and everyone on the side of the apron smacking it like crazy people. But the thing is, no. That's what I can say. I'm not a fan of this Raw Underground whatsoever, but it's something different, and they haven't done something different since the third hour, which was Cruiserweights on Raw.
Well, that was actually a lot better than this bullshit.
Yeah.
Again, I said I don't watch Raw. I don't want to see Raw. I don't want to see Raw Underground. I don't want to see fucking Shane McMahon trying to bring in a new fucking thing that the poor cunt had to be a part of. Yeah, I don't want to see any of this garbage whatsoever. I don't want to see half-naked dances, but then even if I did want to see him, he took them away from me after a week. I don't want to see all these no-name motherfuckers get smashed up by Shayna Baszler and other people over here. You've had other wrestlers as well who don't actually like it. Ken Shamrock even is called it fake, for fuck's sake. You know, former MMA, fucking nays in Impact Wrestling. Ken Shamrock, yeah. I could not give a single shit about this, and just like anything else that they've done, like the SmackDown ratings. Sorry, what was it? The ratings they had, the system, the top 10 system of bullshit they had.
Yeah.
Just like that, this will be gone in a few weeks. So don't watch it, it'll be gone soon enough.
Alright. We'll say bin that idea because yucky.
Yucky.
But
Lord.
Let's talk about a couple other things, and that is when Paul Heyman was supposedly in charge of Raw Creative and what backlash that had with, you got to say that it really worked in Brock Lesnar's favour. But some of the people that Paul Heyman tried to push, such as Brock Lesnar,
Ricochet,
it didn't really work out. And
I think Brock Lesnar worked out very well, but he did try to push Apollo Crews. Ricochet, well, Apollo Crews is now US champion. Ricochet, God knows where he's gone to. I was going to say ACH, lol. Cedric Alexander, which has gone nowhere, absolutely. But the whole Paul Heyman issue was a kerfuffle that he had with AJ Styles.
Yep, they did not see eye to eye whatsoever. Called him a bold-faced liar. He's not completely bold, but
That's the takeaway from this.
At least you can say he's yeah, there's not much really to say about Paul Heyman.
It's about more or less the story about how the Good Brothers got released, which we'll talk about more later. Apparently, AJ Styles said, did he have anything to do with it? Paul Heyman said that he didn't. AJ went straight to Vince McMahon, and Vince said that it was a Paul Heyman idea. So AJ...
Dun, dun.
Yes, plot twist. That Paul Heyman, the guy who plays a heel on TV, is a piece of shit in real life.
He went in there, he's like, wait, they don't want them? What? They don't want them?
Oh, good lord. So you had AJ, who was furious about the whole thing, that he's two good brothers, his best friends, his good brothers in general.
Let's see him at SummerSlam. Heyman, AJ.
Oh, God.
If we can have McAfee and Cole, let's see Heyman and AJ at SummerSlam.
Oh, poor Heyman. So they obviously went to Impact Wrestling. They wanted AJ to go there too, but AJ preferably wants to end his career in WWE. This prompted AJ Styles to get moved to SmackDown now, out of nowhere.
Yeah. And you know what? If they were gonna... Why didn't they at least give the 24/7 championship to Brock if they weren't going to use it? So he actually walks home and no one actually follows him for it.
You could have done the same thing in Braun Strowman, though.
Yeah.
Because who the fuck would attack Braun Strowman unless it's a fiend? Okay, you can have a scene where he's sleeping and Nicholas wins it, then his dad, the referee, beats him.
You know what I'm going to say? I actually preferred Nicholas over Dominic.
Are we talking about this now? We're going to go straight to Dominic?
Yeah, this is one thing we didn't have written down, but we need to mention it.
Okay.
Who's your pick, Nicholas or Dominic?
I prefer Nicholas. Nicholas wasn't shoved down my throat. He was only there for a WrestleMania moment. He will be forever the youngest tag team champion. I know a lot of people are actually happy to see him in ETV, but look, I love Seth Rollins. I love him in general. Yeah, there's only so much I can even talk about his fucking stable, because to me it's gone to shit here and there. Rey Mysterio, there's only so much I care about Rey Mysterio, and now his son's in it. Yeah, the last time I didn't give a shit about Dominic was when him and Eddie Guerrero were fighting over him. Sorry, it was Mysterio and Guerrero fighting over him on a ladder match. So I don't care about Dominic.
Which led to one of the greatest t-shirts from WWE, I'm Your Puppy.
Oh yeah, buy that shit on WWE.com. It's just, look, I don't personally care about Dominic. I don't care. We know he's going to beat Seth Rollins. We know this, yes. But it's still too early to tell with Dominic. Let's just see him more on TV, which I'm not going to watch.
Now, this is one that we have written down. Maybe you can give it a bit more context. We're talking about Rise of the Big Men.
Yeah, because we were already talking about how Keith Lee now is the NXT champion. We have to look now to Raw and SmackDown. Braun Strowman is now the Universal Champion. So, again, just like Keith Lee, first world title. Braun Strowman, first world title. Then we already mentioned earlier, Drew McIntyre, first world title under the Raw brand. When was the last time we've actually seen 3 giant men win the world titles? Because we were living in a time where CM Punk broke the mold. Back in 2011, we had people like CM Punk, we had Seth Rollins, we had Dean Ambrose, we had Daniel Bryan, we had Dolph Ziggler beforehand. We've had Kofi Kingston as another prime example of this. We had a lot of small name guys in NXT. We had Adam Cole, who had the title. Before that was what's his name? Ciampa, who won it. Gargano won it.
Yeah.
And the Universal, the Universal is usually the bigger guys who win it. We had Roman Reigns, we had Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, but Kevin Steen, Kevin Owens, but we still had Seth Rollins though, who had the title for majority of the time. So now WWE is finally shifting it to bigger made guys, which is actually refreshing.
Yep.
For me personally, it doesn't matter the size you are; it's how good of a wrestler you are. But for all 3...
Yeah, people, it's how you use it.
Oh, Jesus. It's how you insert it. For me, it's like Keith Lee is a big guy who's fantastic. Drew McIntyre, also fantastic. But I'm going to put a prediction here. Braun Strowman will never lick a world title ever again. And he's going to lose to The Fiend.
Hopefully he loses to The Fiend. This whole Braun Strowman, him versus Goldberg, you know who I would have preferred beating Goldberg at WrestleMania?
Who?
We're talking about the charismatic enigma.
Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy would have been fantastic, and a Jeff Hardy and the Fiend feud. Oh, how that could have gone. You can even brought back Willow.
I don't know if you've actually heard this, but apparently, what Jeff Hardy's match is for SummerSlam?
Apparently it might be against AJ Styles.
For the IC. Alright. I don't watch...
no Heyman.
Fuck Heyman. He cost AJ the title. Yeah. So look, you already know that I don't watch main roster E unless it's for a pay-per-view. To watch Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles, take my money. I'm very interested to see that.
Yeah.
Very interested.
And I don't know why, but ever since you mentioned that, I just keep imagining his TNA days when Jeff Hardy went up against
Don't say Sting. I thought of the exact same thing because AJ was not a happy camper about the whole thing.
All I gotta say, the next generation of Hardys are going to take over the wrestling business.
I thought that'd be the McMahons.
Oh, the McMahons and Hardys. Could you imagine if they were to actually have a relationship, and McMahon Hardy running a WWE? That would be...
It would be the Hardys recreating Omega.
Yep, they'll be like, listen, every spot you have to jump off a cell. Now, let's move on to... This is kind of a sad topic, but we need to address it. We're talking about the pirate herself, Kairi Sane, leaving WWE.
It was actually sad, especially because of the... Well, this happens to a lot of wrestlers in WWE. The inaccurate booking that they go through, the 50-50 booking they go through, but Kairi Sane has had a great career in WWE. She was actually one of the few who beat Shayna Baszler back in NXT. She's won the NXT title. She's won the tag team title with Asuka. At times, it seemed like E didn't give a shit. Because E, if you've noticed their track record, they didn't really care about the foreigners
Nope.
on their main roster brand. Or brands, I should say. But Kairi Sane, she was barely in E. Definitely will be missed, but apparently, like other wrestlers, the door's open for her to come back eventually.
She was used a lot as well. NXT champion, WWE Women's Tag Team champion. She won a bunch of trophies. She even won a Mae Young Classic. So she
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I forgot about that.
She was
The vagina
used,
trophy.
She was used a lot, and it's good to see that she actually has some accomplishments under her belt. And like what she said, she's moving on to the next voyage.
And oh, I see what you did there. But I will say though, I still say that her elbow drop is one of the best I've ever seen. Fuck, I love it.
The best elbow drop going around. But
Better than Bayley's.
let's move on to the topic that it was only brought up for a bit, but now it doesn't seem like it's happening whatsoever. Apparently, SummerSlam on a boat.
Oh my god, I hope that's actually not true.
And if that is, what, a slap to Chris Jericho's face? He'll be like, you couldn't give me NXT on a cruise, and sorry, we just got a bit of interruption, the ringside interference by a plane over us.
Which we are currently losing right now.
Yeah, the plane has really gone loud, so let's wait for a bit. You know what? Nah, let's just move on to the next topic. I'm not waiting for nothing. The plane can go away, just like what it's doing. Let's talk about the topic before we get onto the WWE releases. We're talking about that new United States Championship that MVP personally bought and made himself.
Okay, so we've already spoken about, I believe on your weekly perspective, we've already spoken about how you were not a fan of the Time Watch for the IC. The US was another title that eventually had to get rebranded, and it was another nice title that he had. Honestly, I don't mind it. I like the design.
I do not like the belt buckle, and that's just my opinion. I thought, listen, you can't get any worse than an Intercontinental Championship, but
You
they
can't say
surprise
it's
me
you
every
can't say
time.
it's worse.
If you were to put both belts in front of me, the new United States Championship or the new Intercontinental Championship, I would walk out of a room. But if I had to choose one, it would have to be the Intercontinental Championship.
You prefer that?
Sadly, yes. But I'm only saying sadly because I'm not a fan of any design, but I sound like an old man that has people on his lawn.
Back in my day.
Yeah, back in my day, it was simple.
Well, there was one thing. I'm looking at the design right now. Do you know what's missing to me? The blue.
And that's what a lot of people are saying. And even with the Intercontinental, it was missing the blue. And if it had a white strap, fantastic.
IC would have looked a lot better with the watch strap.
Yeah. I see. No,
okay. Get out of here.
Alright, I'll get out of here. Well, let's talk about the big one now. No, I'm not talking about me.
Oh,
We're
shit.
talking about the WWE releases, and let's list them off. I'm just going to do a quick run through them. And
How about you mention them and I'll say where they are?
that's perfect. So, Rusev.
He has now become a professional Twitch streamer.
Yes, as Miro.
Yes,
And he's
Miro.
got some funny videos on YouTube. If you
Check
haven't
him
checked
out.
his videos, check it out. But now let's talk about Kurt Hawkins.
Last time I checked, he went to Impact Wrestling. He had an open challenge match against Eddie Edwards that he lost.
Yes.
So he's been wrestling all over the place now.
I was very confused why he answered Eddie Edwards' challenge, but they did have backstory to it. So, when Brian Myers
Oh, yes.
went to TNA,
You're talking about when there was a global force?
yes,
Yeah.
he did win the tag belts,
That's right, with PJ Black.
and he pinned Eddie Edwards.
Oh, no.
So
They beat the American Wolves.
Yes, that's why they had the match. And I'm
No
like,
shit.
oh, it makes sense now that the most professional wrestler, Brian Myers, ended up taking on Eddie Edwards. But you know what? I'm happy that Eddie Edwards retained. Now let's talk about the Strong Island, Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder.
He's an AEW. Very disappointed. He was always an E guy through and through. I really wish he wasn't a part of the releases, but I hope AEW does a lot better with him.
Now, what about... They're not too bad. We're talking about the Good Brothers.
The Good Brothers also, I did not see coming. I thought they were just great. As of now, they've gone to Impact Wrestling. Apparently, they are allowed to go to Japan as well. Yeah. So that's a huge loss for E. They should not have released
We
him.
might be seeing a bit of a too sweet ski from the people from Talking Shop. Now let's move on to EC3.
EC3, ever since he had his concussion scares in NXT, WWE failed him.
Yep.
He's like Gail Kim, but the male version. Great wrestler, great promo, but whenever it goes near the E, total shit.
You made him mute.
You
made him mute.
He's such a great promo. Look, I just hope that Impact Wrestling does a lot better with him again.
And that was very disappointing. Now let's talk about Lio Rush.
Lio Rush, okay, we saw that coming with his attitude problems that he had. Hasn't he retired now, the Moth?
Yes, the man of the hour ended up having his last ever final match at GCW, and that was up against the bad boy Joey Janela.
Okay, what a shit way of going out.
And it was very confronting just to see him leave like that. I was a fan of his work, but now since he's dyed his hair blue, and he has now just been tweeting everyone and even been calling out Finn Balor. It's been a pretty interesting time on Lio Rush's Twitter account. Now let's talk about Primo and Epico, Carlito's cousins.
That is about fucking time. They were the new JTG of catering. It's about time they're gone. I hope they do a lot better. They were just simply not being used, and when they were being used, they were giving out pamphlets of their country, and they were being matadors.
I think this is how you pronounce the last name. Don't hate me if I don't pronounce it right. We're talking about Mike Chioda, the referee.
Chioda. He's gone to AEW's referee now.
Yes,
good for him.
Officiated the TNT Championship match.
Honestly, good for him. All the best.
It's great to see another well-known official in All Elite Wrestling. He's going to do great there. Now let's talk about the recently pregnant Sarah Logan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so she's actually walked away from wrestling. I guess it was kind of sad that she was released, but it was like Rusev. Rusev was released, but Lana was still there. Where in this case, what's his name now in the Viking Raiders? Is it Eric? Or
yes, I'm pretty sure. Yes, it's Eric.
Yeah, so he's still there, but she's gone. She wasn't given much of a chance when she was with the Riot Squad. All the best for her and her family.
Yeah.
I guess.
And then we're going to be talking about
Aiden
English.
Okay, fuck you. The man was talented as hell. Fuck you.
Why can't we see a Rusev Day formation again, but Miro Day in All Elite Wrestling? But I'm happy to see that he's back onto his promos and that he'll be entering into the professional wrestling world once again.
Thank you.
Hopefully all the best for the guy who married into the Guerrero family, what a lineage that is. Why don't they call him Aiden Guerrero and he's like the best Guerrero?
Oh, sweet
that
Lord Jesus.
That would bring heat.
Oh, sweet God.
But let's talk about the next person, and that's the person that has kids. We're talking about Heath Slater.
Heath Slater, that also broke my heart. Now he's doing it very well in Impact Wrestling. All the best for him as well.
Now he's trying to get a campaign going for himself, Heath for Impact.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? Wish him all the best. But then we're going to be talking about the new Maniac of Madness, whatever the nickname they gave him. We're talking about Eric Young.
Eric Young is in the same category as EC3. After Sanity, they didn't know what to do with him. He's now back at Impact Wrestling. The problem is he was never going to be pushed. Look at how old the man is. Yeah, but well, he's in Impact again now, so it'll be a lot better for him now.
What about we talk about Kurt Angle?
Kurt Angle. So apparently he was like furloughed or furlonged or what the fuck that word even. It means that they were gone, but they're still there.
Yep.
But then he was on TV recently for WWE. Obviously he's just a big name that gets a lot of dust for doing nothing. Kurt Angle's Kurt Angle, man. Like, what are we going to really say about Kurt? He's not wrestling anymore. He's pretty much retired.
He's still going well with his sobriety.
Yep, no, congratulations for that. But yeah, it's just Kurt Angle.
Yeah. And let's talk about the other Eric. Let's talk about the man who owns
Rowan.
a spider.
Oh,
Eric Rowan, Big Red.
Oh, God. Oh, man, the
Not
poor
the
guy. Ever since Luke Harper was gone for them being the Bludgeon Brothers, Eric Rowan was going well until they gave him the robotic spider. Fuck, what a horrible gimmick that was. Apparently the speculation he might go to AEW because Luke Harper's there, but I don't think that's how it's going to work exactly. Eric Rowan. What do you reckon? He might get Impact Wrestling.
He would be fantastic. He needs to be a heavy hitter. He's a great wrestler. And I quite enjoyed him when he didn't have the robotic spider, but when he was with Daniel Bryan. When he had the band t-shirts and he was a part of Daniel Bryan, fantastic. Now let's move on to the next one. And is this the greatest love has ever known? We're talking about Mike and Maria Kanellis.
Okay, so now they've got a podcast, and now they're still going on. They're like they've gone through the bad relationship with WWE, where they're still talking about them, yeah? The problem is, okay, you gotta feel bad that obviously, you know, Maria's, like, what, she's pregnant for the second time now, right? And obviously it's a horrible time to be released by the WWE, yeah? And obviously their storyline as a couple was horrible. Mike wasn't used often, it wasn't used properly, but the problem is...
Those are two that should have been straight on to NXT, in my opinion.
Putting them straight to SmackDown was a horrible thing, but the problem is that you can't just sign a contract and then straight away get pregnant, right? And don't say, oh, but you can't help that shit. Okay, cool, okay. But then the second time around, pregante again.
Pregante.
Yeah. And then they were also saying, oh, I don't want to be here anymore, blah, blah, blah. Oh, what's this, money? Yeah, we'll resign again. You're biting the hand that feeds you.
Yes.
Yeah? And honestly, they came out to me as spoiled brats for the whole thing. So enjoy your podcast. I couldn't give a shit.
You know what? I would love to see him become the Miracle again. Now, let's talk about No Way Jose.
Thank fuck, he's gone.
No Way Jose. Now his name is Levi something or other, but hopefully he just strays away from the whole conga line and he actually does something fantastic, because there is potential there, and he is truly the king of strong smile, and I hope him all the best.
No, Apollo Cruises.
Now, one that's confused me is Cassius Ohno.
Cassius, that surprised you. That didn't surprise me. Cassius Ohno should have been released a long time ago because he's only been used as an enhancement talent. He's a lot better on the indies. He should have never came back the second time. I understand how good he was in NXT. Nothing on Cassius Ohno, right? But he's better off going and wrestling whenever he wants, not being in a company like E.
Then another one that surprised me was Curtis Axel.
That honestly surprised me. You kept Bo Dallas, but you got rid of him.
Yes.
The son of Mr. Perfect. What a tragedy. I hope wherever he goes now, I hope he does well. I hope actually AEW picks him up because he's a great wrestler. That's bolting.
Then the last two, we didn't see much of them, but we're talking about Tino Sabatali and Cain Velasquez. We'll wrap this up.
Okay, Cain Velasquez, thank fuck. Second of all, Tino, the only thing that he's known for to me is dating Mandy. And he also is in a dark match in AEW.
Yes. And you know what? I kind of feel sorry that Riddick Moss is still on the main roster but hardly gets used.
On main event, he beat Ali.
That's right. He beat Ali, who came back, did a surprise return with Cedric Alexander and Ricochet. I thought this was going to be a new trio that we will have to watch out for, but he ended up losing to Riddick Moss on main event, and I wouldn't know much to say. Cain Velasquez.
Thank fuck.
Yeah.
You should have never been there, mate.
He only went there because Brock needed to beat him.
Yep. Brock was a little bit salty.
Yep.
He had to get the win.
Give me that bald guy that beat me in the UFC.
Vince, quickly, give him $5 million. Let me pin him.
That's it.
Let me make him tap out.
Now, after that, let's move on to the topics that are under other that we have.
Like, just pretty much non-AEW,
Yes.
non-WWE.
And the first one is speaking out movement. Now, this is going to be a very touchy subject, not pun intended.
Oh, Jesus.
But I know that's a horrible pun, but you know what? It was a very, very shocking time, to the point where if you jumped on Twitter, it was just everyone out for everyone. And for some part of me, I was happy to finally see people speaking out to how they have been abused and have been just thrown all over the place and weren't getting treated right. It was about time that people did speak up, because if you ever are bullied and treated wrong, you need a safe space to work around, and it's shocking at times when something that you've watched as a child hasn't been the best of industries for some people. So, you know what? All I gotta say with this, congratulations to some people having being really brave to speak out on this. And even though it is in a public place, at least they got some retribution out of it. Some of the main people that ended up with big allegations against them were majority of the NXT UK.
They were the ones that took the worst out of all of this. You've had some big names in the NXT circuit, the UK circuit, I should say. Jordan Devlin is being put under investigation for being in an abusive relationship, I believe. Travis Banks, he actually got released from being in a, I think, mentally abusive type of relationship.
With Millie McKenzie.
Who was the one that dressed as a bull?
Al Ligaro.
He's been released from that as well. I believe Joe Coffey is also under investigation for what he's done. Going off NXT UK, we've got what's his name? Austin Theory.
Yes.
So he's been now removed off of WWE television. Nothing much has happened. We mentioned Jimmy Havoc before from AEW. I actually just was researching them. Apparently, a lot of the wrestlers who they did release were UK related.
Yep.
Right. So because of the fact that they could not be used, they got released. But we all knew that obviously Havoc was going to be released from being in another abusive relationship. We had Sammy Guevara's comments that he made about Sasha Banks, but he still remains in AEW. We had also Matt Riddle from SmackDown WWE, who cheated on his wife. That came out.
The difference with the Matt Riddle shocking stuff, which cheating is horrible in any standpoint. If you're going to be in a committed relationship, make sure that you're committed, people.
It's in a relationship.
It was cheating compared to abuse, bullying. So there was that fine line where they thought, alright, maybe we can continue on with this. But some more of the heavy hitters that went on. Orlando Jordan.
Really? Was he a part of it?
He was a very big part of it.
Didn't know that, actually.
He did a lot in sexually abusing Eric Watts. But I don't want to go more into that because for some people, if you do mention what they do, then they might be like, here's a letter in the mail saying, come see me in court. But the person that has been denying all allegations from Impact, we're talking about the guy that wanted to write the censor, we're talking about Joey Ryan, and he had an hour-long video of him saying he didn't do any of it. And it's sad.
Well,
It's honestly sad, but you could see it from a mile away, even when he had the pictures going on, saying for $30 you can touch it.
Okay, with Joey Ryan, I believe that he said that, like, he wasn't denying all of it, but he said that there were certain parts that he was denying. With Joey Ryan, though, I'm not trying to be an asshole about this, but with the type of gimmick that he was portraying in wrestling, what did you think was going to happen? You brought up about the meet and greet that he had, that for $30 you can touch his genitalia. Yeah. Are you honestly surprised by that?
I'm not surprised.
He did come off as a nice guy when we met him, though, but, you know.
He was up front, but he was nice to a point, and we even met his previous fiance or previous wife at that time, Laura James.
Yes.
And everything seemed fantastic, but it was kind of disheartening and very disgusting to find out some of the things, and just hearing about it, it's very, very vulgar. But another person from Impact that ended up, two people that ended up leaving from this situation.
I've heard about this,
You had one of the Christ brothers.
Yes, he's gone now.
Dave Christ, was it? Dave Christ.
Is he the one with the black hair? Not the blondie.
It was the black hair. Was it the one who right to censor? The other person we're talking about, Mike Elgin.
Mike Elgin has come up previously about this type of stuff, so I wasn't entirely surprised that he popped up again for this. Yeah, but he's actually taken this to court now to prove his name for the fact for his family. So we'll see how that goes. We also had Will Ospreay, who apparently came out as a bully as well. No repercussions were taken, but it got to the stage of another touchy subject where he was alluding to contemplating suicide over this. So the whole speaking out movement, to all victims out there, we do congratulate you for speaking out. Regardless of who you are, you know, you can be a wrestler to an actor to a normal every day-to-day type of person, member of the public. Treating someone poorly, not on. Bullying, not on. when it comes to rape, when it comes to any sexual abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, it's not on. So to anyone that was busted through this and got caught out, you deserved it, straight out.
Yeah.
No one deserves to be placed in a predicament like this, yeah? But to all the people who were caught, let's just hope that things change. They learn from everything, and that wrestling, because since we are just talking about wrestling in general, hopefully will become a better place for men and women.
A safer place, a safer industry where
Yeah.
people are actually treated equally compared to some standards where they were treated like pieces of meat. Now, I hate to move on from this subject because there is a lot of stuff that we can say about it, but we've said the best that we could. Now, moving on to another subject, we're talking about Tessa Blanchard, and what a predicament that was from her being the first ever female world heavyweight champion, world champion in Impact Wrestling, to not wanting to return to drop the belt and supposedly staying in Mexico with her hubby, I think now, or fiance. We're talking about Drago,
Who's still currently in Impact Wrestling, I believe.
Yes, and you know what, I gotta say, it's a tough subject because Tessa Blanchard, yeah, you can do the whole undeniable, and she has all of this reputation of being a Blanchard. I can't see her career declining at any point. I can see her career just going up from here, and the amount of praise that Cody and All Elite Wrestling have given her, it might look like she might be All Elite or answer the TNT Championship Open.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah,
So
it could happen, yeah.
that could happen, and you know what, I wouldn't be mad, but I truly hope the best for her.
Well, look, apparently, she wanted money to come and drop the belt. She didn't want to do any promotional work for Impact Wrestling while she was in Mexico. But then allegations came out as well that she is also a bully.
Yep.
So, I don't know, and apparently she had a rough relationship with Ricochet. She spoke out a lot. So I believe she would not be touched by WWE. And if she does go to AEW, things would have to change.
Of course, it would have to be a very big change. But talking about change and how the COVID-19 has changed professional wrestling, let's talk about two wrestlers that refuse to wear the mask, that don't want to mask up, but yet you have Sin Cara that wants to mask up at every point he can.
Oh yeah, during meet and greets.
Let's talk about Low Key and Austin Aries. Low Key, he released a whole statement saying that he didn't want to wear a mask and that it was his own right not to wear a mask. And you know what? At the end of the day, you can do what you want to do. Is it what you want to do morally right half of the time? No. Is Low Key in the right this time? You know what? I reckon better safe than sorry, and that's the best way to do it. And Austin Aries' excuse for not wearing a mask, would you please take that away, Liz?
So he was just pretty much saying that, why does he have to look after other people's health when he looks after his own health? Pretty much saying that I try to tell you guys healthy alternatives by not eating meat, so why should I put on a face mask? In both of them, yeah? Okay. There are so many conspiracies of COVID, we're not talking about it. There's a lot of anti-face maskers out there, I'm not going to talk about it. My stance on it, shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Wear a mask. This is going to end eventually. Who gives a fuck? I'm done.
And practice social distancing, sanitize them hands, make sure you're nice and clean, mate. But don't be sneezing in elbows and shaking elbows. It's not the right thing to do. But you know what? We'll move from that topic because it's nothing that we should stretch upon and point fingers on why it's wrong.
We already know they're pieces of shit.
Let's point onto a topic that it was very shocking to us. We're talking about one of the people from Los Ingobernables del Japón. We're talking about Evil, and now how everything is Bullet Club for him, and now he is a two-time champion wearing both belts. He's a double champ. He's the IWGP Intercontinental Champion and the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and he beat his former leader of his group, Naito, and he joined the Bullet Club. You know what? This really shocked me. I dropped my jaw once I read these results and ended up watching it for myself. Good on Evil, but I could not see this from a mile away. This was one of those shockers that when I read about it, I'm like, wow, okay.
Apparently, all this was done because of the fact that a lot of the other heels, like Switchblade, as an example, were stuck in New Zealand or just couldn't go to Japan. I can see why, like, obviously it was strategical to why Evil has strayed away. This is to keep pushing Bullet Club, which, for fuck's sake, man, just get rid of the Bullet Club. It went downhill after the Elite left, for fuck's sake. And then I'm still upset. I'm a bit salty because I love Naito. I love him being world champion. And it's gone to Evil. Evil, look, great wrestler, but I wish Naito was still champion.
Yeah, that's the best way to say it, and I hope all the best for Naito. This new Darkness Club that Evil is a part of with Dick
Lord.
Tongo. Tongo.
You say Dick Tongo?
That's the guy that's joined them.
Who the fuck is that?
He's a very well-known New Japan professional wrestler.
Oh, really? Okay,
He's
my
a
bad.
tag team specialist. It's a lot I've got to read up on because I'm not going to lie, I'm new to New Japan. I'm probably a couple of years in. I'm not full into their full history, but I will be reading up more about it. But it's fantastic now to see Bullet Club with a bit more steam, and I can't say anything wrong. If Evil wants to be a part of Bullet Club, is Bullet Evil or Evil Bullet? It's
Evil Bullet.
It's an evil bullet here. Now, let's move on to the next subject, and we're talking about Revitalize. Now, this is when we put a wrestler, or mention a wrestler that hasn't been used in a while, and we see how we would bring him back to life, how we would revitalize their career. Now, we'll go one per... one each.
So I'll go
One
first.
idea each.
Yep, and then we'll try
about,
to see what we can do at the end.
We'll talk about the wrestler, and which wrestler do we have today, Mr. Leslie?
We have Mr. Bo Dallas. We did have somebody else. We actually had Chad Gable originally, but then Shorty G turned heel against Matt Riddle. So he's now paired up with King Corbin, which I also didn't see coming. It makes no sense to me. Anyway, so we just decided to go with Bo Dallas. So Bo Dallas, for me personally, I loved his NXT work. Not when he was a biscuit face, but when he was a nice heel. And when he went up to the main roster, he had the Bo Leave gimmick. Why don't we have that come back to 2020? Especially in a year where COVID's running wild on all of us, Hulkamaniacs out there. Why can't we have a little bit of Bo Leave that things are going to get back to normal? Why can't we have Bo Dallas come back as that lovable heel that we all hated?
Yes, that perfect lovable heel that we all loved in NXT. But an idea for me, see, I'm not a rapper, but I'm dropping those sick bars.
Bars!
I want to talk about what if Bo Dallas ended up rebranding himself as a ripoff of a Roman Reigns character and called himself Bowman Reigns. And you could have his song go Bobo, 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 Bo Dallas, Bo Dallas. But call him Bowman Reigns, give him the vest, and instead of the Superman punch, give him the Superman poke. Make him the king of the 24/7 division. Because that, with his comedic timing, would be absolutely cash.
Oh, that would be fucking cash.
That would be the second idea. And what would be the third idea, Les?
Alright,
let's
I'm
wrap
still,
it up with you.
Alright, I'm still very adamant about the Bo Leave gimmick, and then you mentioned the 24/7 titles. So, how about we merge the two with Bo Dallas as a face with the Bo Leave gimmick, but then he's with R-Truth. So you can have now
That would be terrific.
him with the Bo Leave gimmick, him chasing for the 24/7 title, because him and R-Truth would be dosh, feuding with each other, you know, chasing each other all around the PC because they can't leave America. So after all this, you then have them become a tag team. So now Bo Dallas is still a piece of shit, but he's now become a face, and they can now be called. Their catchphrase can be "Bo Leave in the Truth."
Exactly. We need to see a bit of Bo Leave in the truth. And since we saw that little glimpse of Bo Dallas being a great rapper in Bo Rider, I think we can see Bo Dallas with R-Truth, can't we?
Yes.
Now, let's move on to our infomercial quickly. And we've got some...
This is brought to you from our sponsor.
Yes, brought to you from our sponsor. Here we go. Do you need flooring? Well, make sure do you call up King Corbin Flooring, where you can get the best floors going. For any ransom, we can make it and put some flooring for you. For a shorty quote, make sure to call up Gable. Now that is King Corbin Flooring. That was a word from our sponsor. Hopefully you like that.
Oh,
now,
shit.
Moving on from a word from a sponsor, let's move on to some other words, which is Chucky T's tweet of the week.
Oh, how I've missed this so
you
much.
take the honours, Leslie.
Alright, so we have from the 15th of August 2020 at 8:56 a.m. from Chuck Taylor. 85% of white American dudes in the NBA look like me.
What a tweet that is.
What?
And that's to, brighten up your day. A bit of Chucky T's
Please follow him. What a fucking delicious man he is.
His Twitter account with RJC is the best Twitter accounts going around.
I've noticed, you've been posting a lot about him.
RJ City is fantastic.
You showed me the mug.
Oh,
that was fantastic.
That mug commercial, if you haven't seen it, do it. I'm very tempted to buy the mug. But it has come to the last half hour, and the last half hour is when we tackle a new wrestling conspiracy. And the wrestling conspiracy we have for you now, and you know what? This might not even be a conspiracy, it might be the truth, because the truth is out there. We're talking about Brock Lesnar. Is he from Area 51?
Oh, sweet Jesus. Alright, okay, why? Why is he from Area 51?
So I'm going to start mentioning why, and you tell me if this conspiracy has legs and if it's the truth, because you know, the truth is out there.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Now, we see Brock Lesnar, whenever he comes to the WWE, which is very rarely, he's always with a man in a suit. Is Paul Heyman the man in black?
Well, fuck, okay, okay, that sounds pretty reasonable. I reckon it's because because I can even talk about it myself. Black makes you look slimmer, so maybe that's just why he wears the black suit. But he doesn't wear the sunglasses, so I don't know whether to pay that or not.
No, because we need to see the Paul Heyman reactions, and he's always interested on how Brock Lesnar always manages to get himself out of very particular situations. Whenever Brock is doing a move, you see Paul Heyman nearly falling in love with everything that he does. But let's move on to the second topic, and you know what the second thing is that might give this a bit of legs? No one knows where Brock Lesnar lives. He's very secluded. No one's seen him.
Okay, so alright, I'll give you that, but he is a very secluded person. I believe he lives on a farm.
Does he want no evidence of him being around, like that classic story of when someone snapped a photo of him and he wanted it gone? Why did he want it gone? Was that his true form?
Okay, you know what? I would just say that you're an idiot. I would say that he's just a very secluded person, but do you know what you have at farm properties, though? You have crops.
And do you reckon he has a bit of crop circles?
Possibly. So I'll give you that one. I'll give you one.
He doesn't mow the grass, he suplexes it. Another one that we have here, he only appears for a little bit, then he disappears. Does anyone know where he goes? Does anyone know when he rocks up? Why is he in a van? Is he putting on a costume?
Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay, so in saying this one, again, he's a very secluded person, but you know what? Where does he go? I'd like to know that as well.
Exactly. That's why this has legs. Now, on to the fourth reason why. Every time he goes to a gym, there's this one kid that wants to see his penis. If you haven't heard this story, make sure to go to Inside the Ropes, where you had Wade Barrett himself talk about when a child, well, a 16-year-old, I'm guessing at this point, we don't know his actual age, but wanted to see Lesnar's pecker.
Okay, before you say it like that so badly, he wanted to meet Brock Lesnar, but then he got to see the next real big thing in Brock Lesnar. I think instead, I'm not going to give this a pass. Instead, I'm going to say us wrestling fans are a very crazy bunch. You have some who stalk at hotels and airports. I don't believe in that one. Oh, I believe in the fact that kid wanted to see the pecker, but I don't believe in the fact that
he wanted to see where the sword was pointing.
Oh, the tattoo.
Now, moving on to the fifth reason why, F5. It's a flying saucer.
What
What do you reckon that brings to light? Do you reckon that brings out the truth?
Alright, I'm getting flashbacks of Spike Dudley a little bit. Okay, depending on who his opponent is, he can. Yeah, he can do it, yeah. Yeah, alright, I'll give you that one because, you know, I know an F5 is supposed to be like a term for a tornado and stuff, but you could just say since he does spin the opponent, they are a bit of a flying saucer, and they do go flying. So yeah, alright, I'll give you that one. Why not?
It's a flying saucer, people. Now, last but not least, now this is going to be one that's very confronting, and might just open the eyes of people that are non-believers.
Sweet Jesus.
That Sable backwards is Mark Mero. I mean, Alien.
Oh shit. Oh, rest in peace, Mark Mero. I know you're alive, but fuck, Sable killed your career.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought you were going to say that Lana backwards is anal. I thought you were actually going with all this.
His anal.
Alright, unless you can't spell, you're a fucking idiot.
Now, the overall theory, it doesn't have legs. Is Brock Lesnar from Area 51?
I reckon...
Where's his birth certificate?
I don't think he's running for president.
We want to see the truth.
Okay, honestly, the man
was
does...
he Universal Champion?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright, since you said that, I'll give you props. Alright, I'll say that definitely he has been engineered somewhere out of space. Possibly he'll be in the next Ghostbusters remake. Hopefully a one that's not as bad as the last one that we saw come out. Yeah, alright, I'll give you props because he does look pretty unusual.
So,
and I'm terrified of him.
That's the truth, people. Now you know it. Brock Lesnar is in fact from Area 51. That was X-Files try to do a remix, but you know, try to do a remix well. But you know what? That was a very successful a very successful OWP Bomb Shelter 3, the trilogy. That's more bars for you coming at you.
More bars.
And you know what we're going to say? If you haven't done those 3 steps, I'll tell you what the 3 steps are. Make sure you like the video if you do like it. If you want more of it, just comment down below that you want more of it. But the second step is that subscribe button, because not only does the subscribe button get you to be a subscriber of Our Wrestling Perspective, but it also gets you a ticket and officially a seat or wherever you want to sit in the OWP galaxy. And last but not least, if you want to spank that dirty notification button, you know what that happens, and you know what happens once you do that? You end up knowing the millisecond we drop anything related to Our Wrestling Perspective onto YouTube. The millisecond it happens, you get to know that. Yes, you know everything. Now you know the truth. If you liked Our Wrestling Perspective, make sure to watch more of our other content. We have 2 other bomb shelters. And we have to say thank you to the whole OWP galaxy. And that's probably all from my end. Do you want to finish this off with anything in particular, Liz?
Well, let's see here. So we are trying to release more content again. We do have a few other vids coming out. Thank you again for the 100 subs. Subs in general. We are going to be making a video, a nice little highlight reel, just for the thank you for you guys. We do have some other videos, and we'll be uploading shortly.
Awesome. So, see you later, people.
Bye bye.